Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square with T-Square Talks. Hope everybody's having a great day, and I hope everybody has a great New Year's Eve. So you guys are actually watching this video on New Year's Eve, and today I wanted to talk a little bit. I think this is kind of a fitting video for today about how quick a currency can collapse. We talk a lot about the U.S. dollar slowly losing purchasing power. And, just eventually prices will just slowly keep going up, and that's the way it is, and that's the way it probably always will be until we get the final blow. And so I wanted to do something a little different today. This was actually a bag of miscellaneous money that someone had given me. I showed you guys a lot of this in a previous video, but I was sitting here looking at it, and something gave me the idea that I really wanted to look up the value of some of these. And I wanted to start right off with the 1 million Balamara Turkish, I don't even know how you pronounce that, I apologize, Turkish lira. So I went in real quick and I Googled, looked up the currency exchange rates around the world on different stuff, and this happens to be from 1970. This was all old money. And, to my surprise, almost all of it is worthless now. Why is it worthless? Well, that's what we're going to get to today. This was the one that really drew because it was the largest bill. I said, 1 million. It's got to be worth something. And I looked it up. Any guesses? I'm going to give you a quick second to guess. At first, I looked it up and it said $32,000. And I was like, what? Can you imagine $32,000? I mean, it's $1 million, but I'll take 32 grand for free. And then something else came up in the search engine just below it, and it said 1970, 1980, 85, so on. I'm like, well, wait a minute, this is 1970, so I click it in, and a message pops up. As of 2005, January 1st, this currency is now worthless. It has to be traded in for the new currency, and this has essentially no value. I was like, well, what kind of trading are we talking if I trade this in for the new currency, if it's even allowed to? But it said as of 2005, it wasn't. But it said you could trade in 20 million for one new Turkish lira. I want you to think about that for a minute. 20 million for one. If someone had bought silver at the time, before this, when this first came out, I mean, they might have got an ounce of silver. That would still have value in the new currency. But instead, they chose to hold paper, and now it's worthless. Literally nothing. You can't do anything with it except for maybe take notes on it. That's kind of scary. People say that can never happen here in the U.S. So we're going to talk a little bit about that now. We're going to put a little bit of a little fear in this video, too, for you when I tell you guys a couple of different things. Please, if you enjoyed this video, please take a quick minute. Hit that thumbs up button because it helps me out more than you know. Leave a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. And if you're not subscribed, you can really help the channel out by hitting that subscribe button. And we've got a ton of videos. We've got a big 10,000 subscriber giveaway coming up pretty soon. We'll be talking more about not too far away because we are coming up on it fast. So back to this topic, though, what I want people to understand is literally on January 1st, 2005, if you were holding any of this currency, it was instantly worthless. Maybe you got to convert the 20 million in for the one, but think about that. Think about what would happen today if on January 1st here in the United States, you even got a 10-to-1. Hey, we realized inflation's bad in the United States. We're going to fight it. And the way we're going to fight it is you need to take the new money. You can turn your old money in at a 10-to-1 ratio. Prices would instantly on a lot of stuff, it would kind of come down, but it would kind of go up. Why would it come down? Because you would go to work and you would probably be getting paid new money, which means that new money would have more value. The old money is worth less. Now, items that we buy every day, like this, maybe, if you're stacking silver, if you're stacking gold, this would carry the money over, essentially. What was instantly worthless, I mean, this might have been, we'll say $25 in the old currency, but now you can get them back at, $2-3 in the new currency. But the new currency is essentially instantly worth more, and therefore these assets carried your money over. A lot of people don't really understand what that means, and I'm probably not doing the best job explaining it, I'm not going to lie. But when you buy precious metals, it's a way to carry something from this dollar system into the next one. So back then, this is labeled as Old Turkish Lira now. If you were holding silver, well, the silver is still silver today. And so now it instantly converts into New Turkish Lira at full price, and it never really goes away. It never changes. The Old Turkish Lira just became worthless. But the thing I want people to understand the most is almost every country in the last 100 years, if you've held any currency other than the US dollar, maybe the British pound, they've all eventually filtered pretty much to zero. Maybe they might still be worth some crazy trade-in, like you can trade in millions worth. And the reason that is, when you think about it, is the more they print, the less it is worth. And it's the same way with the US dollar. The only difference between the US dollar is, the US dollar, the pound, sterling pound, those have been around for a long time. But a lot of it has to do with, yes, they're losing value because they are printing more. But the fact that a lot of people like to hold them around the world kind of makes them not as spent, I guess you could say. I mean, everybody probably has a little bit of cash tucked away, maybe a sock drawer, maybe their bank, like a little piggy bank or something. Not the bank. You can't really count the bank account money. But you got money tucked away that you're not spending. And a lot of that has to do with, you're saving it. And if you're not spending it, it's not circulating, which means it's not raising the prices of stuff up as much. But as they print more of it, it becomes worth less and less. And as it starts to come out of the woodwork, out of hiding, because let's be honest, if they printed $1 trillion out, the fact of the $1 trillion is not really the inflation. I mean, if they printed $1 trillion and put it in a closet at the U.S. Mint, it wouldn't be a big deal. But once they put it in circulation and they start spending it, it lowers the value of every other dollar that you're holding. Eventually, all currencies will go to zero. I've said this amongst people when I talk to people that don't really understand this. I said, I'm not a financial advisor, but I can tell you it doesn't matter what currency you're holding. In 200 years from now, it's probably going to be worthless. Any fiat currency, any paper currency. This ounce of silver will still have value. It may not be worth a ton, but it will have the same amount of buying power. It will be worth something in the new currency. I mean, will silver be the next currency? Maybe not. But that's not what's important to know. What's important to know is you can trade this in for the new currency. The people that held the old Turkish lira right there could literally trade in this ounce of silver and get the new Turkish lira. Now, what's even more interesting, though, about all this is if you saved it and you did hypothetically want the old Turkish lira, you could probably get millions of them. Because if one Turkish lira today, let's say, is worth $1, and 20 million old Turkish liras are equal to one of the new one, can you imagine what the silver would be priced in the old Turkish lira? It's scary when you think about it because the money literally holds no value now. The only value that the dollar comes with is the fact that it's backed by the United States government, essentially, and their military. Their military, essentially, power. And we are using that military power to basically keep the dollar propped up. People accept it still, but that is slowly turning. I would not be a bit surprised to see us all wake up one day and get told you have to trade your currency into the new currency. This is a new, maybe silver-backed currency, gold-backed currency, or something like that. If that happens, all those people that are sitting on millions and millions of dollars instantly take a hit. Now, some people will say, does it matter? Because we're all taking a hit. And that's where you're right. We all would be taking a hit in a way. But someone that's holding precious metals or other commodities or other hard assets, they're not going to take the same haircut. They're not going to take the same hit because they found a way to get out of the paper before it collapsed and go into a hard asset. I mean, think about it for a minute. If all of a sudden 10 US dollars is worth $1, well, what's going to happen to silver? Silver's still going to have a good value. I mean, maybe they'll come in right off and say, okay, it's worth $3 now in the new dollars, but it's not going to be long before these dollars are basically worthless, or the old US dollars is worthless. And there's a possibility that right after, all of a sudden, silver starts working its way up to 4 to 5. I've been looking a lot at these new, not new, but the gold bucks. The only thing I don't like about them is the premiums are high on them, but they're pretty cool. I almost bought a book of them the other day. I was like, you know, a tenth of an ounce of gold for $465. I'd have a whole book of them. A whole book equals 1/10 ounce. That means I'm getting for $460 US dollars, I'm getting a tenth of an ounce of gold. And then I told myself, why not just go buy a tenth of an ounce of gold for $250? And then you still got the same thing, and you've got an extra $150 in fiat currency. Now, I understand I can't use it as trade as easy. I can't break it. It's not broken up into 100 little pieces, but that's okay. I mean, I'm still convinced that I'll be able to trade. For smaller stuff, I'll just may have to trade silver. So eventually, all currencies will go to zero. So think about that today and be prepared. Whatever could happen this week. We are at the end of the year. A lot of excitement in the news right now. A lot of scare in the news. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I will see you guys again next time on T-Square Talk. Please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this. And I will see you guys again later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.